And Shedeur saw it because what he posted at midnight says everything.
Time. So this was Jerry Jeudy, man. Deshaun Watson and Jerry Jeudy are throwing and working out down in Florida. The Browns offseason workout program begins next week. This crazy to me because we just heard Todd Monken say yesterday that Deshaun Watson ain't even been in the building. Dylan Gabriel ain't been in the building. So what y'all up to, bro? What y'all finna plot on? Cause this looking spooky.
Bro, stop what you're doing right now. Because what just happened in Cleveland today, nobody, and I mean nobody, saw this coming. Jerry Jeudy, Shedeur Sanders' own wide receiver, his own teammate, the guy who was supposed to be catching touchdowns from Shedeur this season, was just spotted in Florida throwing with Deshaun Watson, not Shedeur, Watson. And then, as if that wasn't enough, Browns owner Jimmy Haslam goes on record saying Deshaun Watson has a great chance to be the Week 1 starter. Bro, the Cleveland Browns just set their own house on fire, and we are going to break down every single piece of this today. So hit that subscribe button right now because this channel stays on top of the stories that actually matter. Let's get into it.
Because we just heard Todd Monken say yesterday that Deshaun Watson ain't even been in the building. Dylan Gabriel ain't been in the building. So what y'all up to, bro? What y'all finna plot on? Cause this looking spooky. Look like y'all could be plotting on Shedeur or something. Now, I'm not saying it's against the law for Jerry Jeudy to work out with Shedeur, but you might be trying to help him.
Let's start with the moment that broke the internet this morning. Jerry Jeudy, wide receiver for the Cleveland Browns, was down in Florida working out and throwing routes with Deshaun Watson. Now look, I know what some of you are already saying. It's just a workout, bro. It don't mean nothing. And yeah, technically, you're right. It is not against the rules. Players work out together all the time in the offseason. But here's where it gets spooky. The Browns' official offseason workout program starts next week. Next week! Head coach Todd Monken literally just said that Deshaun Watson hasn't even been in the building yet. Dylan Gabriel hasn't been in the building. Nobody has touched the grass officially yet. So what is Jerry Jeudy doing flying down to Florida to throw routes with Watson before the program even starts? Think about that for a second. Because the optics here, they are terrible for Shedeur Sanders. Shedeur is your guy who grinded through his entire rookie season, came in as a fifth-round pick after one of the most disrespectful draft slides in NFL history, didn't get a single rep in training camp, didn't play the first 10 weeks, then got thrown into the fire against the Lions with zero preparation. And what did he do? He survived. He won 3 games. He beat 2 divisional opponents to close out the season. And this is the thank you he gets? His own wide receiver is down in Florida throwing with the guy who's been hurt for 2 straight seasons? I'm not here to clown Jeudy, but bro, if you're Shedeur Sanders and you see that news drop, that's a message. Intentional or not, that is a message. And the message is, some people in that building are not riding with you.
You can't believe you're saying this? I can't believe Jimmy Haslam said that Deshaun Watson has a great chance to start. Let's just take the Browns owner at his word, despite the fact that a year ago, Jimmy Haslam thought that Deshaun Watson essentially had played his last down with the Cleveland Browns.
I believe he said it was a big swing and a miss.
Big swing and a miss is what he called it. Exactly, Dan. And now, a year later, that big swing and a miss.
Now, just when you thought the Jeudy story was the wildest thing to happen today, Browns owner Jimmy Haslam decided to walk up to the mic and throw a grenade. Jimmy Haslam, the same man who 1 year ago called the Deshaun Watson trade a big swing and a miss, is now out here telling reporters that Watson has a great chance to be the starting quarterback in 2026. Bro, read that again. Last year, big swing and a miss. This year, great chance to start. What changed? What changed? Deshaun Watson has played 19 games in 4 years with this franchise. 19! He tore his Achilles in Week 7 of 2024. Then, while he was recovering from that Achilles, he tore it again. The man hasn't played a meaningful football game since October of 2024, and now suddenly he has a great chance to start? Adam Schefter said exactly what most of us were thinking. He went on the podcast and straight up said, "I can't believe Jimmy Haslam said that." And Schefter is one of the most respected voices in this entire sport. When Adam Schefter is stunned, you know something wild just happened. Because think about the full picture here. The Browns gave up 3 first-round picks for Watson. They gave him a fully guaranteed $230 million contract. The Houston Texans used those picks to build their entire franchise. C.J. Stroud, a winning culture, playoff appearances. They are literally thriving off the picks Cleveland handed them. And the Browns, they got 19 games, 2 torn Achilles, off-field drama, in a 3-14 season. But sure, Jimmy, great chance. Cool. Now look, not everyone is staying quiet about this, because Rizzo went absolutely off today, and honestly, he said everything that needed to be said. How in the world is Shedeur Sanders not the unquestioned starting quarterback right now? Think about what this kid did. Got no reps in training camp, watched from the sideline for 10 weeks, got thrown in with 0 preparation against one of the best teams in the NFL, beat the Lions, then closed the season winning his last 2 games, both against division opponents. What more do you want from him? On one side, you've got a guy coming off a double Achilles injury who hasn't played real football in over a year and a half. On the other side, you've got a young, hungry, mentally tough rookie quarterback who proved he can win in this league when given the chance.
Long-term contract. I just can't imagine that the Browns organization wants to sign up for that again. And then to Mike T's point, like, it's hard to imagine you want to commit to someone who's come off of 2 torn ACLs so recently and hasn't played in forever. It seems like the best case scenario is one of these younger, cheaper quarterbacks that they already have on the roster works out, or they don't work out and then you're ready to draft one next year. It feels like kind of the worst possible outcome is Deshaun Watson plays well enough to keep you out of the range of one of those quarterbacks, and then you extend him even further into the future and he becomes your quarterback of the future. I don't think that's what anybody in Cleveland really wants.
And the organization is out here making it sound like it's a 50-50 competition? Multiple analysts today said the same thing. The best case scenario for Cleveland is that one of their young quarterbacks develops into a real starter. The worst case scenario, Watson plays just well enough to keep them out of the top draft picks, gets extended, and becomes their long-term answer. Nobody in Cleveland wants that. Not the fans, not the analysts, and honestly, probably not even the front office deep down. Coach Todd Monken called it an open competition, which, fine, coaches say that, but when your owner is publicly hyping up Watson before a single OTA has happened, that's not neutral. That's a thumb on the scale. And Shedeur Sanders is smart enough to see that. Here's the real talk. Here's what this all actually means. Shedeur Sanders walked into Cleveland as a 5th-round pick with a chip on his shoulder the size of Lake Erie. He had every reason to fold. The organization drafted him almost as an afterthought. They took Dylan Gabriel in the 3rd round before they even touched Shedeur. They passed on him 6 times in that draft. And he still came in, kept his head down, waited his turn, and delivered when called upon. Now, heading into year 2, his 2nd season, instead of being handed the keys and trusted to grow, he's being thrown into a 3-man competition against a veteran who hasn't played in nearly 2 years and a 3rd-round rookie who went 1-5 as a starter. And his own wide receiver is out here in Florida throwing with the veteran. Now here's the thing. Shedeur cannot control what Jeudy does in the offseason. He cannot control what Jimmy Haslam says at owner meetings. He cannot control the noise. What he can control is what happens when the pads come on, what happens in OTAs, what happens in training camp, what happens when the lights come on in week 1. One Browns analyst said it best today. Watson would need Shedeur to be absolutely terrible in OTAs just to have a realistic shot at winning this job. That's how much Shedeur has already proven. The talent is not in question. The heart is not in question. The only question is whether this organization has the courage to fully commit to their future instead of looking backwards at an expensive mistake. So here's where we stand today in Cleveland. Jerry Jeudy is in Florida throwing with Deshaun Watson before the official program even starts. Jimmy Haslam is publicly backing Watson after calling the trade a disaster just 12 months ago. Analysts and insiders are losing their minds, and Shedeur Sanders is sitting there watching all of this, knowing he has to go out and silence everybody all over again. Honestly, if I'm Shedeur, I love this. Give me every single reason to be angry. Give me every bulletin board moment. Give me the disrespect. Because we already saw what happens when you disrespect this kid. He wins. Cleveland, the ball is in your court. Don't blow this. Drop your thoughts in the comments right now. Do you think Shedeur Sanders should be the unquestioned starter? Or does Deshaun Watson deserve one more shot? Smash that like button if you rode with Shedeur from day one. Hit subscribe so you never miss a video, and I'll see you in the next one. Let's go.